how important was that last win, or was that last game against China?
Extremely important. You know, as a Gilas fan, you're always hoping. We lost one game, Dominican, then Angola. But after every game, you're always hoping for that breakthrough win. And to come against China in dominant fashion, I don't recall the Philippine team in my history as a basketball fan ever beating China that way.
Yeah.
21 points, it was dominant. It was close in the beginning, but third quarter it was all Philippines, and it kind of makes up for all the heartbreaks.
Yeah.
My generation suffered watching the Philippine team against China.
Right.
So that was huge for all the Philippine fans.
I think dominant is the key word there kasi
Yeah.
malaki yung lamang ng Gilas Pilipinas, and thanks to a lot of good performances, Lexi, you want to start us off kung sino ba yung mga
We've got
nag-perform in that
a
game?
lot of lineup, a good lineup today to talk about. But of course, Coach Mark, we'd like to start with the big contributor himself, Jordan Clarkson, with 34 points. In just 4 minutes, he made 20 points. And as far as I'm concerned, if I remember correctly, this is his best play ever here in the Philippines. How was his offensive strategy? How did it play as a pivotal role all throughout the game? Kung paano niya na-dominate yung game?
He was just in the zone. He was just lights out. And this happens to him every now and then in the NBA. He would score 15 points, 16 points in one quarter in the NBA level.
Yeah.
So definitely he's capable of doing that. In fact, a lot of Filipino fans were expecting him to do that every game because when he struggled a bit is from a field goal percentage standpoint in the first few games of Gilas, you would hear some rumblings, Clarkson's not playing well, this and that, even though he was scoring in the 20s. But that game showed what a true 20-point scorer in the NBA looks like in that third quarter. He was phenomenal. He was fantastic. He's really a streak shooter and did it every kind of way. He got to the basket with some floaters, hit pull-up threes, hit open threes as well, and so he just took over the game.
True to his nickname, the flamethrower nga ito, si Jordan
That's what he
Clarkson.
did. Yep.
And he made us realize why he was chosen to be our naturalized player to play here in the World Cup. Pag-usapan natin yung ibang players, Coach Mark, a lot of other guys who stepped up to the plate. One guy I'm very interested about is Renz Abando. Did not get a lot of minutes in the first couple of games for Gilas Pilipinas, but then nung nakita ni Coach Chot na okay, pag pinasok si Renz, he could make an impact. Your thoughts about his performance?
And I like this topic because a lot of the credit is going to Jordan Clarkson in that win. But the locals, they really played very well. And starting with Abando, you're right. Abando didn't get that much minutes before because he's a new guy. The thing with Renz Abando, we all see the blocks, we all see the steals, we see the dunks, but he also makes some mistakes on the defensive end from a positional point of view as far as following that, and which is common with younger players. And I think that's the reason why he didn't get that much playing time in the beginning. But when he got into the groove, because the talent is undeniable, both on the offensive and defensive end, and he's just a matchup nightmare for everyone. And his shot wasn't falling the previous games, but that's how it is. He got the feel of it. He got the feel of the game, of the crowd. The crowd loves him in Araneta. When he made that three-pointer, he was actually Renz who started the run. He made the three-pointer in the corner before Jordan Clarkson took over.
Yeah.
And defensively, he can guard. I mean, he's guarding Kyle Anderson. He can guard point guards. He can guard practically everyone except maybe the center position. So really, this guy's potential as a cornerstone for Gilas in the future is really sky's the limit for him.
Even got that steal and huge dunk, no, in that game.
I mean, Coach Mark was mentioning about getting the groove, and we have Kai Soto here with 12 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, I want to talk about and focus more on his growth and evolution all throughout this tournament. What changed specifically in his performance, Coach Mark?
Well, he didn't get that much practice time as well. So when maybe in the beginning of the tournament he was feeling his way. Also, the matchups weren't that into his favor because it's difficult to have Kai when he's guarding a big man who can shoot. China doesn't have that. Zuchi and Hu, they're not three-point shooters.
Yeah.
Right.
So if Kai is not guarding a three-point shooter, he can stay in the paint where he's very comfortable. He can protect the paint. He's very good in blocking shots. The timing is there. He'll get more rebounds. And then when he can stay in the paint, effectively on the defensive end. That means he's going to be playing as well in the offensive end because he's going to get time. He's not matchup problem on the defensive end. And when he gets time on the offensive end, he really is a very talented player. He's a good passer for his position as well. He got that nice pass to AJ Edu a couple of times, and he's 7'2".
Yeah.
So he's going to be a handful for anybody.
Right. A couple of players left sa front court ng Gilas Pilipinas. What about the birthday boy playing inspired basketball siguro? And we celebrated that after the big win against China. Si Dwight Ramos.
Well, Dwight Ramos, if you look at I love Dwight Ramos because if you look at the past editions of the Gilas teams, we've never had a player like him. To me, the whole in the previous Philippine teams is the small forward position. We've never had a dominant small forward who can play both ends of the floor. In Dwight's case, he can even slide to the 4 when we go on a small lineup. So that's why I love Dwight Ramos. I hope he's going to be in Gilas for the next 10, 12 years because there's no one like him in the Philippines. Can put the ball off the dribble, can shoot off the dribble, and he's not a ball hog. He doesn't take a lot of attempts. Very efficient player. Very versatile as well on the defensive end, can play the pick and roll as well. He's shown it. And I think whether Clarkson plays or not, if our next naturalized player is going to be a big man, he's going to be the one running the show in the perimeter for the foreseeable future for Gilas.
Who doesn't love Dwight Ramos? Everybody loves Dwight Ramos.
You're right.
Especially the girls.
That's right. Kaya nga Saint Dwight sinasamba natin, si Dwight
But you
Ramos.
mentioned Coach Mark, si AJ Edu. He's been an all-around contributor all throughout this tournament. How did he maintain this kind of momentum from game 1 to this last game against China?
This guy is a master rebounder. He gets the ball at the apex of his jump. A lot of them on the rim. He's just a hard worker. And then the defensive versatility, he can guard from 1 to 4. He can switch. That's the most important thing in the modern big man now in basketball is if you can guard the perimeter. And this guy can do it. He's going to be a fantastic pick and roll defender in the years to come. He can switch to pretty much anybody in the perimeter and defend the point guard. And I think the offensive skills, it's going to come. It's starting to come. He has a shot. He made a couple of 3-pointers against South Sudan. And that's going to be a big part of his game moving forward. I believe he's playing professionally soon in Japan. That should add to his game. And it's very exciting because we also never had a player like AJ Edu with that combination of length, size, and strength and defensive versatility. So it's going to be a bright future for Gilas.
Bright future, and now that we've wrapped up our stint in the World Cup, 2 tournaments ang pag-uusapan natin, Coach Mark. We have a shot at entering the Olympics through the qualifying tournaments. And just a few weeks away, Asian Games na. What do you think yung mga pwede natin gawin for Gilas Pilipinas moving forward? Ano bang kailangan natin ituloy for the program because malapit na, 2 weeks away yung Asian Games?
Asian Games is going to be a problem, and I'm curious to see what the SPP does here because all of the foreign-based players, starting from Clarkson to Dwight Ramos to AJ Edu, I don't think they'll be available because Asian Games is not a FIBA-sanctioned tournament. So I think it's going to be an all-PBA selection. So, and I say selections, that means this is a team that hasn't really trained that much. So it's gonna, and then you're gonna have a new coach. So it's gonna be tricky in the Asian Games, but we're still hoping for a good performance there. Now, Olympic qualifying tournament, I think that's something I'm more excited to look at, to plan. That's gonna be next year. By that time, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a new full-time head coach with Chot retiring or stepping aside. So, but it's going to be exciting because we've had pieces in this Gilas team that previous editions of the Gilas team never had before, and they're still very young. So it should be a great time for Philippine basketball in the next few years.
The work continues and we're so excited to keep cheering for Gilas Pilipinas. More basketball talk pagdating ng tournaments na yan with you, Coach Mark. But thank you for joining us.
We'd love to have you back here and have more chit-chat about basketball.
Love to be here all the time.
Thank you, Coach Mark. Now, after the break, FIBA Executive Director David Crocker joins us live to give us his assessment of the Philippines hosting of the 2023 World Cup. So, stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back to the game. The games are far from over, but the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 has been successful so far, with several teams making their way to the Philippines for the final stage. Let's check in with Executive Director of the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 to talk about the World Cup so far and break down things to look forward to in the following days. Mr. David Crocker, welcome to the game.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so excited to talk
It's a pleasure to have you
basketball and FIBA with you, Sir David. I know it's not yet done. We still have a week left of basketball to be played here in Manila. But I want to say congratulations first for mounting this successful event, huge event. First of all, that record attendance on opening day at the Philippine Arena. Did you expect that to happen here in the Philippines?
Well, you always hope for something like that when you have such a great platform like Philippine Arena with so many seats available. You have the rest of the mix, which is a Filipino crazy basketball crowd. You have the Gilas playing at home. It's the right formula to set a record, and we weren't disappointed at all. It was a fantastic afternoon.
And more than anything else, I'm sure you're aware of how passionate the Filipino crowd is, especially with Philippine basketball and basketball in general, even international basketball. Is there any specific thing that was memorable to you, or like any crowd fan instance that was memorable to you that you would carry on even after a few years from now?
Look, there's been a lot of those moments, and not here just in Manila. It's also been in Okinawa, it's been in Jakarta. And right now what I'm seeing is actually the emotion of all the volunteers.
Yeah.
So as we pack up Araneta, we move to the final phase.
Right.
In all three countries, I'm just seeing all the messages between each other of how proud they are of what they've delivered, the environment they've had to work in, the environment they've created, the magic they've created. They are all so proud, and I'm just, I get emotional watching all these messages. So that's really something which is quite special. All these people who have given up, weeks of their time to deliver an amazing event. This is pretty special.
Oh, the games start late in the afternoon. We end late, both in Araneta and Moa Arena. But you see the joy in the faces of these volunteers helping this event to be successful. We wanted to ask you about the crowd this time around. Is this a measure for success, the gate attendance? Let's talk numbers here for Araneta. The biggest game so far has been Philippines versus Angola, which had 12,784 spectators. Meanwhile, for Moa Arena, it was Greece versus USA, 11,392. Both games, I was present and I was excited. I was hyped with both games. Do you use this as your measure of success for the event?
Of course, it's one of the measures. You put this on so fans can come out and enjoy, and of course you want to invite as many people as you possibly can to be a part of this. So that absolutely is a measure, but there's many measures, and one of the really critical ones for us is how the players enjoy the experience. So that's actually number one measure for us. We want to make sure that we create an environment that the athletes come and they know that they can perform. So everything's in the right sort of technical environment, but then there's the other side of it, the softer side, so that they can enjoy the experience. And at the hotels, we have player lounges where there's table tennis, there's esports. They're creating competitions amongst themselves. Like athletes from different countries are sitting down, talking, enjoying, getting out of their small rooms to come out and just enjoy the whole experience. So this has been unbelievable. We're getting great feedback from the athletes. Our commission head, Dirk Nowitzki, has been giving great feedback on behalf of the players. So this is a job exceptionally well done. Biggest measure is that, and then of course the fan experience. So people coming out, being a part of it, hearing the noise, seeing the joy. These are the things that we're doing it for.
It's a crazy experience, right, Lexi?
Speaking of fan experience, did you anticipate any type of, how loud the Filipino crowd is, or how much they're roaring inside the arena? Did you expect any of that coming into, hosting it here in the Philippines?
Look, I've been to a number of games here in the Philippines and a few Gilas games here, but the noise level playing China was something I'd never experienced ever. And many of my colleagues who have, 15, 20 years of international basketball, when we got back to the hotel going, wow, okay, that was something of a new level for them as well. So you sort of expect it, but what gets delivered again was above and beyond what you expect.
It's different. It's crazy. When I
I
describe
wish
it,
I was there. I was watching at home, but I wish I was there as well.
I'm gonna need you to watch a game this week, Lexi, because when I tell people to watch, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, unlike any other sporting event. Lastly, Sir David, we know that more teams are coming this week for the quarterfinals, semis, and finals. What can we expect this week at the Mall of Asia Arena for the fans who are planning to see these players?
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. We've got some great teams which have already touched down at the airport, and a couple have arrived at their hotels. Several are on their way now. So I've been fortunate to go to Okinawa. I've also been in Jakarta, so I've seen all the teams play. You know, it's hard for me in my role to say this is anybody who is favourite or come to see, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching Latvia play.
Yeah.
The teamwork which they show is unbelievable. So this is a really fun team to watch, along with the 3,000 fans they had in Jakarta as well. So hopefully we'll see a few of those make their way to Manila. So they're great to watch. Canada has so much talent. They had a great win last night against Spain, so they're another interesting one. And of course, I think everybody's expecting number 77 to get here and make a huge impact. I know some of our colleagues in the LOC are more than excited about 77 arriving. So it's going to be a great night for the fans here to get to see him play.
I already know I'm going to spend a lot of time at the Mall of Asia Arena this entire week. More upsets maybe, more surprises coming up. But thank you so much, Sir David, for discussing this whole event, and we wish you the best of luck for the final
I
week.
will definitely take up that offer and watching it there in the arena and experience it. But thank you so much again for being here. Now, after the break, we've got more on your favorite sports icons and athletes. So keep it here. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back, you're watching The Game. A joint project between FIBA and the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas brought a newly refurbished basketball court in Barangay Santa Cruz, Pasig. Now, SBP President Al Espanlillo was in attendance along with FIBA Secretary General Andreas Zagklis and Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto. The court refurbishment is a personal project between Mr. Panlilio and Mr. Zagklis with the support of the local government of Pasig as a way to give back to the sport that has given them so much and inspire a young generation of basketball players in the community.
It is our job to promote basketball for good, to show how basketball can bring positive change to the society. This is the place where the younger generation grabs the ball, they make friends, they make dreams, and this is where you come, you forget everything. And it is part of our job to give back to our sports, and that's why Mr. Panlilio and I took this initiative as two basketball administrators, to people who grew up in courts like this, to give back to the next generation better conditions for them to play.
We really appreciate this project from our friends from FIBA and SBP. Personal project nila ito eh. Sino Sir Al, sino Sir Andreas, we really appreciate it. And you know, it takes a team effort to make more open spaces for kids so that they can play, learn and play basketball. So maraming salamat sa mga tumulong.
Now, meanwhile, the road to the World Cup title resumes tomorrow as the matchups for the quarterfinals begin at the SM Mall of Asia Arena. Now, Team Lithuania will look to carry its momentum against fellow powerhouse Serbia at 4:45 p.m., while Team USA will look to bounce back against world number 10 Italy at 8:40 p.m. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lexi Rodriguez.
Catch us weeknights here on One News and on the Pilipinas Live app, where you can watch us live and our past episodes on demand for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store. I'm Dip Dipianco, and this has been The Game.